Have you ever imagined squeezing yourself into an aircraft, something smaller than the pickup truck sitting in your driveway? Picture looking up and seeing a plane so terrifyingly tiny that a strong gust of wind looks like it could snap it in half. Yet, it tears through the sky with a roaring engine. Today, we are going to answer the ultimate question: how small can an aircraft get? Before takeoff becomes mathematically impossible, stay with me, all the way to the very end. Because the number one aircraft on this list does not even look like an aircraft. It looks like a bizarre flying barrel with wings, and it holds a world record that will never be broken. And if you love insane machines like this, hit subscribe right now, because we do this every week. We start with the Cirrus Vision Jet, the world's first single-engine personal jet certified by the FAA. And I know exactly what you are thinking right now. How does a luxury jet end up on a list of the smallest aircraft in the world? But hear me out, because we have to set the baseline for extreme engineering. Manufactured in the United States, this marvel bridges the gap between high-performance piston aircraft and massive corporate jets. It is the benchmark of safety and commercial viability. Before we descend into mechanical insanity, designed for owner-operators who want to bypass commercial airlines, it redefines personal luxury. Now, to put the scale into perspective, this entire private jet weighs significantly less than a fully loaded Ford F-250 Super Duty pickup truck. Let that sink in. Under the roof sits a Williams International FJ335A turbofan engine, generating 1,846 pounds of thrust. The aircraft cruises at over 300 knots, that is 345 miles per hour, while carrying 5 adults and 2 children in complete comfort. Visually, it looks like a luxury sports car that grew wings. Its wingspan is only 38 feet, and the compact VTOL design drastically reduces its hangar footprint. That massive engine, mounted directly on top of the carbon fiber fuselage, gives it an aggressive futuristic silhouette that is unmistakable on any tarmac. It blends modern aerodynamic efficiency with the sheer aggressive presence of a fighter jet, yet remains accessible for recreational pilots. The most insane feature of this luxury machine? It comes equipped with the Cirrus airframe parachute system. If things go catastrophically wrong at altitude, a rocket deploys a massive parachute to float the entire jet and its passengers safely back to Earth. The truth is, that safety feature has already saved lives in real-world emergency scenarios, making it a favorite among affluent families. It is a brilliant piece of engineering, high performance, with unmatched peace of mind, but if a $3 million personal jet with a parachute seems a little too refined and sensible for your taste, hold on tight, because our next machine strips away the jet fuel entirely and brings the craziness directly to your backyard. Next is the pivotal Helix, and if you saw it sitting quietly on the ground, you probably would not even know how to get into it. Built by an innovative aerospace company in California, this personal electric vertical takeoff and landing aircraft does not just look weird, it fundamentally changes the basic physics of taking off. It is a single-seat tilt aircraft, while some gearheads remain skeptical of electric power. You must respect the insane power-to-weight ratio here, weighing only 348 pounds. This machine is essentially a motorcycle for the sky, and here is the truly wild part. The US government classifies it as an ultralight vehicle, meaning you do not even need a pilot's license to fly it. Fact: the Helix utilizes 8 independent electric motors, producing a combined 74 horsepower, delivering instant torque for vertical lift. Its tandem wing tilt configuration allows it to transition from hover to forward flight seamlessly, reaching speeds of 62 miles per hour. Now look at this. Here is why the visual design is absolutely mind-blowing. It has no wheels and no traditional landing gear. When parked, it rests entirely on its tail, pointing straight up at the sky like a rocket. To take off, you climb into the cockpit while lying on your back. You launch vertically, amazing. And once you gain altitude, the entire aircraft tilts forward into horizontal flight. The pilot sits in an exposed carbon fiber cockpit, surrounded by a lattice of spinning blades, producing a high-pitched synchronized whine, like a swarm of angry mechanical bees. Imagine the severe spatial disorientation of launching straight up on your back and then aggressively pivoting face forward in midair. It feels less like flying an airplane and more like riding a high-tech roller coaster without any tracks. Because it meets FAA Part 103 regulations and lacks complex mechanical linkages, it is also surprisingly easy to maintain compared to traditional helicopters. It is a bold frontier in personal aviation, pure thrust, zero complexity. But if this silent, battery-powered marvel seems a little too futuristic, our next machine takes the electric revolution to a completely new level of raw power. Welcome to the Wild West of electric vertical takeoff and landing vehicles, EVTOLs. If the Helix is a nimble sports bike, the Air One is the electric muscle car of the sky, developed by a cutting-edge Israeli startup. This two-seat EVTOL is designed to make personal flight as ubiquitous as driving a sedan. Forget complex gas engines and heavy fuel tanks. This machine now runs on 8 independent electric motors, generating a combined 771 horsepower. It weighs only 1,318 pounds empty and features fully aerodynamic collapsible wings. That means when you are done flying at cruise speed, you simply fold the wings and park the entire aircraft inside a standard single-car garage. This is not a concept. This is the future of daily commuting. The AR-1 is equipped with 8 motors, generating a staggering 771 horsepower, channeling massive torque directly into vertical lift, powered by a 74 kilowatt-hour battery pack, mounted low for stability. This beast carries a 551-pound payload. Visually, it looks exactly like a giant, sleek racing drone that somehow swallowed the enclosed cockpit of a Lamborghini. When those rotors spin up, they create a localized hurricane. The acoustic signature is a deep, resonant hum that vibrates through your chest, distinctly different from smaller drones. When you push the throttle, those 8 rotors spool up with a high-pitched screaming whine, straight out of a science fiction movie. Absolutely, it demands respect. Designed for daily commuting, the AR-1 cruises at 100 km/h with a range of 110 miles, and it does not need a runway. You step inside, power up those massive rotors, and lift straight up into the clouds. Now, here is the million-dollar question. If you could afford one, would you trust your life to an all-electric flying drone? Or do you still prefer the mechanical roar of a traditional gas engine? It is a stunning achievement in high-powered electric aviation. But if the comfort of a high-tech cabin feels too safe, get ready, because our next machine is so stripped down, it will leave the pilot completely exposed. Prepare yourself to witness the absolute purest, most terrifyingly exposed form of mechanical vulnerability in the sky. We enter the realm of pure mechanical madness with the Gen H4. This machine, meticulously developed by an extreme engineering team in Japan, officially holds the Guinness World Record for the world's smallest coaxial helicopter ever flown. It is so stripped down that calling it a helicopter feels like an exaggeration. There is no cockpit, no windshield, no tail rotor, no doors. It is literally just a lightweight aluminum pipe frame, a simple saddle seat, and 4 roaring 2-stroke engines strapped directly above the pilot's head. It weighs just 155 pounds in total. It is a terrifyingly brilliant piece of engineering that pushes the absolute boundaries of what a personal flying machine can be. Crazy. The Gen HP4 is powered by 4 separate 125cc two-stroke engines, the exact kind of screaming engines you would normally find on a heavy-duty dirt bike, producing a combined 40 horsepower. These engines spin 2 massive 13-foot contra-rotating blades at 860 RPM. The sound is an aggressive, deafening buzz, like 4 modified chainsaws running at wide-open throttle right above your skull. The visual design is nothing short of pure insanity. You, literally, sit strapped onto an exposed metal chair, grab the front handlebars, and throttle up. Steering is accomplished by physically shifting your weight and pulling a control bar. Exactly like a hang glider, it looks like a futuristic flying skeleton. When activated, those 4 dirt bike engines roar simultaneously, and you are lifted straight up into the brutal atmosphere, totally exposed to the rushing wind, unforgiving weather, and gravity itself. One thing is clear: the sheer bravery required to fly a lawn chair directly into the clouds is completely staggering. Because it lacks a tail rotor, it cannot auto-rotate in an emergency. If all engines fail simultaneously, the craft drops. The human factor here is staggering. You are suspended hundreds of feet in the air, legs dangling entirely at the mercy of 4 tiny engines. It was built for the pure, unfiltered thrill of flight. But if dangling from an aluminum chair is not extreme enough, our next machine is a Cold War masterpiece. That proves you do not need millions to own the sky. Now, we officially enter the high-risk danger zone of aviation history, and we find the Nissus gyroplane emerging from the proud mechanical heritage of Slovakia. This machine is a love letter to the garage-built era of aviation. Gyroplanes are incredibly unique beasts, unlike helicopters. The main rotor is unpowered during flight, spinning freely in the wind to generate lift, while a rear-mounted engine pushes the aircraft forward. The Nissus is powered by a heavy-duty Rotax 915 IS engine, pushing out 141 horsepower. Despite that powerful engine, the entire aircraft weighs only about 650 pounds, creating an incredibly aggressive power-to-weight ratio. It represents the quintessential do-it-yourself spirit, where practical mechanics triumph over expensive factory technology. Here is the craziest part about its design. Unlike a traditional helicopter, the massive top rotor is completely unpowered. It is not connected to the engine at all. Strange indeed. As the rear propeller pushes the aircraft forward, the rushing wind catches the free-spinning top rotor blades and naturally creates lift. Visually, the Nissus looks like a dune buggy with a propeller strapped to its back and a rotor blade bolted to the roof. It is nothing more than a minimalist welded steel frame wrapped in a tiny aerodynamic fiberglass pod, leaving the pilot completely exposed to the violent rushing air. When you fire up the engine, it spits out a throaty rhythmic rumble that instantly brings a smile to any true gearhead's face. The sheer beauty of this rugged machine lies in its ultimate mechanical safety feature, because the top rotor out is not mechanically driven by the engine. If the engine violently fails in midair, the gyroplane will not plummet like a rock. The unpowered blades continue spinning in the wind, allowing it to float down slowly and safely, like a parachute. It is a brilliant piece of mechanical survival engineering. It requires only a short runway to take off, but can land almost vertically, making it perfect for backcountry exploration. It proves you do not need millions to experience the freedom of the skies. But if you appreciate the mechanical purity of the gyroplane, our next aircraft takes the DIY aesthetic even further. into pure unapologetic garage territory. Now, we are diving deep into the raw, uncompromising realm of the ultimate garage tinkerer. Imagine walking into a hardware store, buying high-grade wood and fabric, and building a functional airplane right in your backyard. That is the spirit of the Spacek SD-1 Minisport. Born in the Czech Republic, this single-seat tail-dragger is the definitive true microplane. This extreme aircraft has a tiny wingspan of just 19 feet and an empty weight. I want you to hear this number clearly, of 242 pounds. 242 pounds. This fully functioning airplane is significantly lighter than a mechanic's heavy-duty rolling toolbox. It is the ultimate expression of the garage build philosophy, bringing the dream of flight down to a personal buildable scale. The engineering beneath the fabric is rock solid. The airframe is primarily constructed from spruce and plywood, covered in highly durable synthetic fabric. It is powered by a small engine producing 24 to 50 horsepower. Essentially, the exact same type of engine used in heavy-duty commercial riding lawnmowers. Incredibly, though, it still hits a cruising speed of over 100 mph because the aircraft is brutally light. You do not simply sit inside it, you basically wear it. The cockpit is so dangerously tight that adult pilots have to slide in like they are forcing themselves into a rigid sleeping bag. The sound of the two-cylinder engine is a nostalgic, steady popping rhythm, a stark contrast to the jet screams above it on this list. But here is the genuinely terrifying part of flying the SD-1 Minisport with an aircraft this brutally light. The physics of danger are always actively working against you. A sudden strong crosswind can toss this 242-pound wooden bullet around the sky like a dead leaf in a violent hurricane. You are not just casually flying this machine, you are physically wrestling the atmosphere for survival. The SD-1 arrives as a kit, requiring hundreds of hours of painstaking labor. And when a pilot finally takes to the skies, they are not just flying an airplane, they are flying their own craftsmanship. It bridges the gap between flying and building. But if wood and fabric seem too traditional for your adrenaline cravings, strap in because our next machine swaps spruce for a screaming military-grade turbojet engine. Prepare yet for your eardrums to shatter. The SubsonX is not just a small airplane, it is a pocket-sized fighter jet, and it is the modern-day undisputed king of the personal microjet. This machine answers one burning question: what happens if you strap a screaming turbojet engine to an airframe no larger than a smart car? The result is one of the most aggressive, high-adrenaline micro-aircraft ever conceived. Weighing roughly 500 pounds empty, the SubsonX looks like a conventional jet fighter that was accidentally left in the dryer for way too long. It brings the raw intensity of military jet performance to the recreational pilot's front yard in kit form, built by your own hands. The heart of this tiny terror is a PBS TJ100 turbojet engine, the exact engine designed for cruise missiles and drones, producing roughly 250 pounds of raw thrust. That generates a violently fast power-to-weight ratio when strapped to an aluminum frame that weighs less than a grand piano. Visually, it features a distinctive Y-tail design, an aggressive shark-like nose, and an oversized canopy. That gives the pilot a commanding fighter pilot field of view. Because of its extremely tight dimensions, you do not simply climb into the SubsonX, you practically strap the entire aircraft to your back. When the pilot hits the ignition, the SubsonX does not rumble. It shrieks. The ear-piercing turbine whine makes the ground shake. Supreme, once airborne, it tears across the sky at speeds exceeding 200 mph. When the throttle is pushed wide open, the turbojet roars to life, transforming this tiny piece of aluminum into a screaming rocket. It is utilized heavily by airshow performers and hardcore adrenaline junkies who demand jet-powered extreme aerobatics, but on a personal budget. Watching one perform at an airshow is a surreal experience, compact, impossibly loud, and blindingly fast. It represents the ultimate expression of modern mechanical capability, high-speed aerobatics now as an accessible dream. However, if the SubsonX represents the modern era, our next aircraft is the legendary granddaddy that started the entire craze, a machine so iconic, it captured the world's imagination through the silver screen. Welcome to the golden era of the Cold War and extreme garage tinkering. No list of micro-aircraft is complete without the king of pop culture, the Bede BD-5, and specifically the jet-powered BD-5J, holding the Guinness World Record for the world's smallest jet for several decades. It was designed by visionary engineer Jim Bede. If you grew up in 1983, you absolutely know this machine. It is the exact microjet that James Bond famously piloted through a tight hangar. In the opening sequence of Octopussy, that single scene captured the world's imagination like nothing else, proving that aviation could be both high performance and insanely compact. It sparked a kit plane revolution and remains a beautiful, dangerous testament to the ambitious engineering of the 1970s. The BD-5J is staggeringly small. Empty weight, just 358 pounds. Wingspan, 17 feet. Tucked inside that tiny fiberglass fuselage is a roaring micro-turbo TRS-18 micro-turbojet engine, producing 200 pounds of thrust. When you sit in the BD-5J, you do not sit upright. You are in a fully reclined Formula One racing position, with your legs stretched entirely out in front of you. You do not sit in this aircraft. You practically wear it. Visually, it looks like a deadly aerodynamic bullet with stubby wings. The acoustic signature is an unforgettable high-pitched scream. That sounds entirely disproportionate to its frame, thanks to its incredibly low drag and powerful thrust. This garage-built fiberglass bullet can rip through the sky at speeds exceeding 300 miles per hour. The story of the BD-5 is a tragic yet fascinating chapter in aviation history. Jim Bede promised the ultimate high-performance aircraft for the everyday man, taking thousands of deposits from hopeful buyers across America. However, due to engine development delays and eventual bankruptcy, very few were ever completed. The pilots who did fly them were genuine pioneers, risking their lives in a highly sensitive, unforgiving airframe. The BD-5J undeniably proved to the world that home-built jet aircraft were entirely possible. But if you think the BD-5 was bizarre, our next aircraft is so utterly weird that you will question how it manages to defy gravity at all, powered by two engines, barely bigger than chainsaws. If you thought a wooden plane was small, the brilliant French engineers behind the Colomban Cri-Cri looked at that challenge, laughed out loud, and decided to strap two engines onto something even teenier. Meet the Colomban Cri-Cri, the smallest twin-engine manned aircraft in the entire world, and easily the most comical-looking machine on this list. Designed in the early 1970s by Michel Colomban, it looks less like a real airplane and more like a practical joke. The name Cri-Cri translates to cricket, and one look explains why. This dual-engine machine weighs significantly less than the average American adult male. A standard Harley-Davidson motorcycle dwarfs it in both size and weight. The engineering layout is absurd. Instead of mounting engines on wings, Colomban bolted two tiny 15-horsepower single-cylinder engines onto pylons projecting from the nose, just inches from the pilot's face. The combined 30 horsepower sounds like a pair of angry chainsaws fighting each other. The cockpit is a tiny bubble canopy perched on what appears to be a metal cigar tube with a wingspan of barely 16 feet. When you fire up those two tiny engines, they do not produce a deep rumble. They scream like high-powered chainsaws at wide-open throttle. The noise is absolutely deafening for the pilot sitting inches from the exhaust, yet, despite its empty weight of just 172 pounds, the Cri-Cri is a beast, fully aerobatic, capable of pulling G-forces up to plus 4.5 and minus 2.5, performing loops and rolls that would tear larger aircraft apart. Cri-Cri is a triumph of minimalist engineering. It proves that you do not need massive horsepower. To achieve high-performance flight, you just need a brutally light airframe and nerve. Test pilots report that it handles like a go-kart in the sky, requiring constant minute adjustments that demand total concentration. It is a machine, dangerous, thrilling, and uniquely French. It remains a legendary experimental aircraft, pushing the limits of what a pilot and machine can achieve together. But, as extreme as the Cri-Cri is, it pales in comparison to our final machine, a story of obsession, rivalry, and the moment physics finally said no. This is it. We have reached the absolute pinnacle, undeniable, of mechanical madness. This is the Starr Bumble Bee 2, the smallest biplane ever flown, and it boldly looks less like a functioning aircraft and more like a bizarre insect, heavily armored, desperately trying to stay airborne to understand the bumblebee. You must know about the ego-driven rivalry of the 1980s between American engineers Robert Starr and Ray Stitz. They were locked in a bitter battle to build the world's smallest airplane. Starr wanted to crush his rival completely, and his solution was the Bumble Bee 2. He broke that world record not just once, but twice, visually. It defies all logic. Just 8 feet 10 inches long, shorter than a golf cart. It is the ultimate tale of American obsession. The final iteration, the Bumble Bee 2, achieved the ultimate record with an impossibly short wingspan of just 5 feet and 6 inches. Now, I want you to understand how absurd that is. The wingspan of this heavy airplane is significantly shorter than the height of the average American man. Weighing 396 pounds empty, it was forcefully powered by a Continental C85 four-cylinder engine, pushing 85 horsepower, strapped to a frame, with virtually no wing surface to generate lift. Starr could not rely on aerodynamics. He relied on pure brute force. The aircraft did not so much fly, as it was violently dragged through the air by the propeller's force because of its massive fat fuselage and impossibly tiny wings. The parasitic drag was colossal. It possessed zero glide capability. The stall speed was terrifyingly high. If the engine ever quit, it would instantly drop out of the sky like a solid block of cast iron. On May 8, 1988, Starr strapped himself into this coffin to claim the world record miraculously. He succeeded, reaching 400 feet. But then, the unthinkable happened. The engine failed. With zero glide capability, the Bumble Bee 2 dropped like an anvil and crashed violently into the ground, miraculously. Robert Starr survived, proving he was as tough exactly as the steel he used. The plane was destroyed. But here is the extraordinary part. Its record remains unbroken to this day. It is the ultimate cautionary tale, a moment where the obsession with records pushed a man to conquer physics only to be brutally punished. It is a story of human courage and the absolute edge of aviation, and it is the perfect end to our countdown. From jets worth multi-millions of dollars to tragic record breakers, these 10 machines are not just aircraft. They represent the relentless spirit of engineering, the refusal to accept limits, and the courage to strap into unproven machines. All of them had one thing in common: real solutions to seemingly impossible problems. Which one did you find the strangest? Which would you have the guts to fly? Is there a micro machine that I missed? Let me know down in the comments. Hit subscribe for more mechanical marvels, and next week we explore together the most dangerous submarines in the world.